In sickness.
In sickness.
And in health.
And in health.
To love.
To love.
Cherish.
Cherish.
And to obey.
We didn't talk about that one in council.
We did talk about that in council. Yes, we did. So you want me to repeat that again? You want to just keep going?
I think we can keep going.
All right. So, thank you guys so much for joining us. This is another episode of the
Hold on. Sorry.
Because you can't
no lie, because I'm up here writing notes my damn self like we at school.
Welcome to another episode of the Babe We Need to Talk podcast. It's been a little bit. I'm Alicia.
Dale.
Natalie.
Gels.
It's so nice to be sitting back here with you guys so we can have another conversation about these relationship topics. Today we're going to kick it off talking about prenuptial agreements.
Rich people problems.
Right? It's so funny because before we were like about to record, I was really thinking like, is this out of our tax bracket? Because this was not something that we had to discuss going into it. But do you guys feel like people who have a certain amount of assets should protect their assets?
I thought you was going to say a certain amount of ass.
No, but do you think that people, like, if they have acquired a certain amount of wealth going into a marriage, you think that it makes sense for them to, you know, protect their assets and get a prenup before they get married?
So I think it's two ways to look at it because obviously, well, I guess it depends on the man or the woman in the situation. You're looking at it to say, oh, you don't think our marriage is going to last because you're talking about prenups. But then in the same aspect, the rate of divorce is so high. So
I was going to say that.
Yeah,
I was going to say that. Like, you don't want to think that the marriage is not going to last going into it. However, if you are looking at it like logically, a lot of marriages don't last. So I think that
it's a lot of work that after some time people just not trying to do it. But I don't know. I think it's just a matter of what you came in with. Are you trying to quote unquote leave with in regards to money?
What's the divorce rate nowadays? Is it still 50%?
It was lingering around 50 last I checked. I mean, I can look it up.
What do you think, babe? Oh, you just shaking your head. What's the problem? You think I'm gonna divorce you? No.
I'm saying that. So I have two ways to look at this thing. Okay.
One way is to back away from the mic.
Yeah, bro. I can hear you. I can hear you breathing in the mic, man. I wasn't gonna say nothing, but since Nat brought it up.
One way is let's take Tiger Woods for example. Okay. Tiger Woods in reported settlements that he had to give his wife $750 million, something crazy, but it ended up being like $100 million. Okay. Tiger Woods met her while he already was playing golf. He was already the top of his game. And he met her and they got a divorce and he had to end up paying her that much money. So it's one of them things like I understand where somebody would say they want a prenup if
they're already established.
Right. If you didn't build this with me now, from the time that they got married to the time they got divorced in that time frame, whatever she built or structured in that time frame, I definitely think she deserves, half or whatever it is. Like Jeff Bezos' wife, she was there from day one when he started Amazon. Ain't like she just came in the beginning. So I see why she got $38.3 billion.
Outrageous.
Shout out to Mackenzie for giving it back to the HBCUs. Though.
Hello.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
I get where he's coming from with that aspect. And honestly, we don't know, where the inside on it either, because I'm sure, knowing who Steven Jackson is, he's had this conversation with her several times about this.
Yeah.
And I guess she just thought that she was just going to get through it without signing. But I'm sure he had, it ain't just pop up like a day before the wedding, like.
Yeah. In the Steven Jackson scenario, I definitely kind of understand where he was coming from, because from what he was saying is that they had discussed it several times, to your point, in that he made it seem like this was something that he was adamant
discussed,
about, right?
yeah.
And that it was discussed. And it seems as though, from his perspective, that she just was like trying to act like kind of ignoring it and just saying like, okay, if I just don't sign it, then
it's gonna go away.
It'll go away, which kind of seems
Backfired.
like well, yeah, definitely backfired. But it kind of seems kind of devious because why wouldn't you just say I'm not going to sign this versus
I really think she probably thought like it will go away. Like, yeah, well, we made it this far. We're about to get married. It's the day of or whatever it transpired. Like, yeah,
Well,
it's gonna,
Mm-hmm.
You love me, I love you, and I wouldn't do that to you. Sorry. In this
Yeah.
case, your word doesn't necessarily.
Do y'all feel like signing a prenup kind of like sabotages your foundation though? Because it's kind of like saying, okay, we're gonna get married, but just in case it doesn't work out, let's go ahead and sign this prenup.
Yeah, you're already thinking the worst.
Yeah.
Because some people look at it like we're signing a business contract because that's
Yeah.
what a marriage, that's what it is. But then some people look at it like an emotional state, like we haven't even started this marriage thing and already you're trying to figure out the worst. But if you think about it, it's just like you being married, or before you get married, you making sure you have health insurance or any other thing. Anything else could happen. Like
That's
you have a
true.
I
will,
was just
stuff
gonna
like that,
say
because it could. Well, it's different with death because that's a definite. Everybody's going to happen eventually one day. But I guess in marriage they think that it's not going to happen. It's always going to be good. So we cool with each other, so we ain't got to worry about anything. But also too, in a guy's perspective, the system is not built for us. So it's always going to cater to the woman with spousal support and with child support.
I disagree.
Yeah, I was gonna
I
say,
disagree.
What if a woman is
It
making more
depends
money?
on who has the money.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not necessarily going to be about the man. It's who's providing financially.
Bullshit.
That's not bullshit. That's facts. That's facts. There's definitely plenty of women out here who are paying spousal support because they were the breadwinners of their
I know.
relationship.
No,
Period.
I know
No.
somebody.
Spousal support, one thing. I'm talking about child support.
But you
No,
didn't
you
say
said
child
no.
support.
I did say child support.
No,
You
you
said-
said spousal.
You
I said spousal
you-
and child
He said
support.
both. He said both.
Thank you, babe.
Well, that's also not what it used to be either, because in most states now, parents have 50-50 rights. So it comes down to if y'all have 50-50 custody of this child, who makes more money in regards to who's going to pay what in child support, and who has there's a whole formula that goes into that. Who's the custodial parent, who's the legal parent, the legal guardian.
But let's be real though. Some of these child support numbers you be hearing, you be like, it's not that much to take care of a kid. Like the numbers. No, I'm not talking about us. We're regular folk. I'm talking about when you hear like these celebrity kids and these people got to pay $30,000 a month.
It's to maintain the lifestyle that they
Yeah,
had, though.
if you have it to pay for your
Man,
child,
as long
then
as that kid got a house, a car, and a way to get to daycare or whatever, it
Correct.
shouldn't be about a lifestyle. It should be that the child is being taken care of.
But
Yes,
if my
that's what
child
the
is
numbers
if my father is a billionaire, why should I
Right.
live in the slums?
So
No.
also,
I'm not saying it in that regard.
well,
But
That's
it's
what it's
almost
based
like-
off of.
It's almost like if it's a billionaire, if I'm a billionaire, you still have to live in a billionaire house. Why you can't live in $1 million house? It's the same. It's a house that provides for the child. Like, why does it have to be?
because the thing about it is, if they were still married, they would be living in a billionaire's house.
Mhm.
So it's supposed to be said like the kid is getting the same kind of like
Lifestyle that they would have.
had whether they were still married or
So
not.
is it? So that means it should change the name from child support to child lifestyle. Because the support is you're supporting.
You're
the child's-
supporting the lifestyle.
Yeah, you are supporting your child's lifestyle.
It's supposed to be you're supposed to be supporting the child's needs.
I hear what you're saying, but it's,
But you're supporting the child's needs and the other half needs too. So you want my child to drive around in a Kia and you got a Bentley. It's still a car getting to point A to point B.
So we're
It's
talking
not-
about spousal support.
we're
We're talking
actually
about
talking
child
about the
support. Which one we talking about?
Yeah, we did go child support.
Which one we talking about?
I do apologize for this. We went to child support. Sorry. But spousal support, like I think that's the whole thing of the prenup thing, because some of these spousal support payments are through the roof, are crazy.
Well,
spousal support is interesting to me how that even works.
Yeah, I don't know how
it
that
is.
works.
But I also think that too. I think we're talking about the negative aspects of the prenuptial agreements, but I think that also too sometimes, I mean, it goes both ways, right? So, like, you can say, I'm only going to give you X because you weren't shooting with me in the gym. However, the other party can also say, okay, well, I require X, Y, and Z. Should we divorce? So they go both ways.
Yeah,
and I feel like
your own little like clause in there.
Exactly. I feel like if someone is to marry another person that is already established, they're wealthy or whatever, you should still confer with your lawyer and make sure that your needs are going to be met as well. Should things not work out?
Yeah. Then it also depends what state you live in, because different states do different things too.
That is true.
And then there's also it was possible for, like, if the other person gets married too, isn't it?
There's all types of clauses. Now, basically depends upon basically what you want to put in it and how you structure it. Like, there's so many different variations of prenuptial agreements that you can draw up.
The only way Janet that's
Jackson
guaranteed.
had a crazy one, right?
Yeah, she had.
She came up off.
Yeah, so she even her, she said if she gave him a baby, that she would get more money.
Yeah. What now?
Janet Jackson's prenup was set for her to get a certain amount of money per year, and after being in the marriage for I think over 5 years, she get another set of money, and if she gave him an heir child, she would get another set of money separate from what she was already getting.
Yeah.
And then she waited, did everything, and then a year after I think the child was born, or maybe 2, she divorced him.
And who was this?
Janet Jackson.
No. Who's the guy?
Oh,
some billionaire.
Some rich man we never met her before.
That sounds like Eve.
That's the way to do it, though.
That was definitely a business proposition. That was a business proposition.
Because ain't Eve married to a billionaire?
Yeah.
Or something in France.
She got a kid, but they still together.
So I feel like we've kind of already established, like, people, like, how we feel about people who already have a certain amount of wealth getting prenups. Mm-hmm. What are you guys' takes on people who don't necessarily have anything right now, right? But they plan on, okay, one day I'm going to be this star, or I'm going to have this, and so I'm going to make a prenup now for the future, even though I don't have any of that. It may not ever happen, but I'm going to put this in this prenup now just in case I reach the level of success. Like, what do you guys thought about that?
I think it's dumb. I only say that is because I get predicting the future, but what if it's the other way around? Let's say if the woman decides that, I want to set up this prenup because I know this product I have is going to take off, or whatever the case may be, and it doesn't. And then the dude is like, he doesn't have anything in place. Mm-hmm. I feel like it needs to be both sides. When it comes to the fact that there's not necessarily money to start with.
So in your example, I agree with you, but however, I also think that it probably is going to be smart for that person. So say like I have a business where I have a product or whatever, and it's not doing that great right now. It's a small business. However, I'm hoping that one day it'll blow up. It'll be in Target or whatever, what have you. I think it would be smart for that person to say like, I'll give you X amount of dollars or whatever if I do blow up. However, I get to keep my business. You don't get to come in and take half of my business. So the business will still be mine. If it's truly my business, right? The business will still be mine. All but right. I'll give you a lump sum of cash or whatever from the business. But
you can't keep the name. That's my daddy name. I don't care what you say. You take everything else. The name say hit.
Like, what do you guys thought about that?
Isn't that how it usually happens though? Like if there's a case where 2 people are married and the business is in one of the spouse's names. Like if they get a divorce, it's still that spouse's business, but they just have to split the proceeds. Right.
Yeah. Because she never was on Amazon. Right. She was just there when he started it. So, I mean.
Yeah, same.
It's, you know what it's kind of like? It's kind of like that, what's that movie with, that Tyler Perry movie with Taraji and that dude who was like a engineer.
Acrimony.
That foolishness.
Yeah, that's kind of what it reminds me of. Because remember, he struggled all them years, but Taraji was taking care of him. Yeah, and she put the house on.
Her mom passed away and gave her money, and she turned around and gave it to him to start the.
Right, but then they put a second mortgage on the house too or something for it?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
And all that.
It got worse.
And then he ended up blowing up. Then his invention ended up.
But in that case, too, I feel like if she gave him the money to start the business, then she has a vested interest in the business.
Well, he did. He did give her like a substantial amount of money.
This is after they separated.
Yeah,
it's too much. That example is a good example, but you would legit
too many layers.
See the movie. Yeah,
you gotta unpack a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I got you.
But
I guess my thing is just make it fair. If that
But
makes sense.
people
Maybe that's what the
can-
court. Maybe that's what the
Fair-
court system is
Being
for.
fair is subjective.
Exactly right to
Yeah.
say that because you just said, "Oh, boy, they need to drive the kid when his daddy have $1 billion." So
you
what
might
is fair?
see that as fair, and I may not see
Exactly.
it that way. Like, nah, son, I need the same vehicle you got.
I get it. I just think the child support. I think just exploit the child for the other
Now
person
that
to
is a
benefit.
thing.
That's what
I
I'm
think
saying.
people do that.
Yeah.
However, I don't feel like you can't judge
Like
the
some people
majority of people
Some
off
of
of the
these women
actions
are not
of the
even
few.
working. You know, they get a substantial amount of child. They're not even working. Like
And
they
have
live
no
off the
plans.
child support.
And have no plans to get a job.
But I mean, there's also women that are in a marriage and they're not working. So it's like,
That's true.
What-
They stay at home moms.
you know what I'm saying? So like,
This is the lifestyle.
so should the child that has
Wait, let's back up. But them being in a marriage and not working, that's different from you being a baby moms and not working.
okay, so should the child that's parents are divorced, are they not worthy of having a stay at home mom because their mom is single?
No, that doesn't defend that point though, is what I'm saying. Like what does that have to do with you have a mom here that's living off of child support and not working versus a wife who's a provider in the home that's not working. Like what?
I mean, I see your point. I'm just trying to argue the opposite. Kind of my role here.
Yeah, I think that should be incorporated in law. Like I think if the other person getting child support, like you can't get the child support unless you're working. Like you have to be doing
But why?
something.
He said, well, why?
Right, because like, so okay, so
Because
my child.
at that point, let's say for instance the people not married. At that point, it's not child support. It's child and my ex support money.
I think that if men, because the same, but I feel like we're talking about men here. I think if men
It's
are
majority.
so hell bent on not giving this woman X amount of child support, then you take care of your child. You don't want to pay me, you take custody of the child, you take care of your child.
But that's the bad part about it, though. Sometimes the men be trying to, but the court don't allow. If the mother is stable and doesn't have a mental illness or strung out on drugs, the baby's gonna go with the mother.
Not true.
Not true. I have an example.
Not true.
Mm.
I'm not putting that person.
It used to be that way. You used to be 100% correct. However, nowadays, you have to try to not have 50-50 custody of your child. If you don't have 50-50 custody of your child, it's because you did not try to have 50-50 custody of that child.
I'm just saying. It just seemed like it's just. I mean, let's just be honest. It's just anything else. Some people go take advantage of it, and some people actually gonna use it to the right way.
Very
Yeah.
true.
So
Very
it's just the person at all. You know, it's just the person you're dealing with.
It's probably
So
always
just
gonna be a
just
sore
be careful who
topic.
you marry.
It's
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
gonna be a sore topic, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even for those who don't get married but have baby moms. Like
Yep.
Yeah.
You gotta be careful who you lay with because you could be tied to them for 18
That is a
years.
longer relationship than a marriage.
That's a guaranteed.
That's a
18 years.
guaranteed 18 years.
it's a lifetime.
Yeah,
You
that
gotta
is
build
true
up
too.
life.
Well, no, the payments stop at 18.
The payments.
Yeah, but like
you
having
still
to be
gotta build
around
up.
them. Think about
Yeah.
graduations, weddings, and you have grandkids, Christmas. Like
Then
that
they-
person is gonna be there.
And they might be fighting over who get the grandkids. A whole nother debate.
Oh man.
that was a lot
Yeah.
to unpack there.
Well, let's keep with the wedding vibes.
Yeah. So, in talking about weddings, I feel like vows have definitely changed over the time. We don't see this as much anymore, but the term obey definitely used to be a phrase that was used in wedding vows. And some people still choose to put the term obey in their wedding vows. What are you guys' thoughts? Like, is that still relevant, or do you feel as though women no longer need to obey their husbands?
I think you got to break down the word. It's not
Well,
like
Mr. Scholar over here looked up the definition. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah.
Give
Yeah,
us
let's
the
go ahead and break
definition.
down the word. So the definition is to comply with or follow the commands, restrictions, wishes, or instructions of.
Oh.
So
So
what
it sound
say
as
you-
bad.
What say you about this term here?
I don't know. So that those vows come straight from the Bible, right?
Do they?
I'm asking.
Oh, I don't
Well,
know.
so when I was looking up, there was one person that said that the vows did come from a certain scripture in the Bible.
but I don't think it's direct
That-
from the Bible. When it today? Pastor Ashley just said it was started in the 1500s.
Yeah,
Right, but they could have
that's
still been
vows.
referencing
Yeah,
the Bible
that's
when they
overall
created.
vows.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about, the vows part. But
Yeah.
I think
So,
the
yeah,
misconception of it, the
Go ahead.
obey thing, what they're talking about is nowadays automatically think if we're talking about women is that, oh, you ain't gonna just tell me what to do. I think that's what they're automatically thinking off the break.
Well, I
Which
think
is
that's
so-
what this is relating to, the man telling the woman what to do. Because back in the day, even if it originated back in the 1500s, the woman had to be inferior to the man, right?
Because the woman was technically property at one point. If we're
I
keeping it
couldn't see
above.
Lisa's face. I thought she was looking at Dale like that.
No.
So
She's waiting
But,
to get her point out.
So we did reference where did they come from in referencing the Bible? So Ephesians chapter 5, verse 21 to 24 says, "Submit to one another out of reverence for Christ. Wives, submit yourselves to your own husbands as you do to the Lord. For the husband is the head of the wife, as Christ is the head of the church, his body, of which he is the Savior. Now, as the church submits to Christ, so also wives should submit to their husbands in everything."
Mm-hmm. So that's very interesting because the way that we're going today, like the direction that we're going as a society today, we're going away from that.
Yeah.
So now, is that an okay thing? Maybe, but you got people that might see it as contradiction because that's not what it says to do in the Bible.
Huh?
That is true. However,
Like, so you have women, fighting for rights and things like that. Mind you, I'm not playing a side or anything.
Yeah.
I'm just bringing up a topic. Like,
I
yeah,
want
women.
to get you canceled.
Yeah, I don't want to get canceled. So you got women playing a side like women's rights, independence, blah blah blah, right? Those same women, a lot of them are Christians. A lot of them follow the Bible, but then the Bible says that you have to be submissive to your man as you are to the Lord.
so the way that I question that though is because the Bible has been translated in so many different times and rewritten so many different times that I have to read it with a skeptical eye, because when you say submit, right, it doesn't say be submissive to, it says submit. So I also wondered, like, if you take the original transcription of this verse, right?
Yeah. What does it really say?
What does it really say, right? Because the English version that we have now in 2023 says submit. However, what was that actual phrase and what was the meaning of that phrase, the way that it was originally written and originally meant to be interpreted?
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I find it interesting that it says it's telling the woman to be to submit to their man, but it doesn't tell
the man
to
Well,
submit to.
in all fairness, I only read three verses, right? We don't have the full context of the passage.
Also, too, you got to think about the time that this was done. Women were not looked at as
that's what Alicia said.
as I'm not gonna say people, but they had no say or anything.
As
So the
equals.
man had to run and had to be
And half of the time too, the women were like severely, the age gap was really big. Like to say like you're marrying a 14-year-old and you're a whole like 30. So it's kind of like.
But that speaks to the times, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
no, of course.
So
Not
it's sort
now.
of like the submissive part in that time might have been, you got to be submissive to me because you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Or you don't know the ways of the world. So you need to follow me because I'm the man and I know the ways of the world and what's best for the household and the family because I'm the man. So you need to submit to what I say because I know what's best. Sort of like a father,
So then that begs the question, is the man still the head of the household today?
It depends on the.
It depends on the household. Yeah, I mean, then you know what though? Head of the household doesn't necessarily mean income.
Well, that's
Yeah.
how it's.
No, I'm just
normally
talking about
looked
in
upon.
general. Like, is the man is the husband the leader of the family? Is he the head? Is he to be the one in charge per se?
If we are following the ways of the Lord, then yes.
The answer is yes.
The answer is yes. It's God, husband, wife, children. That's the order.
So, never mind.
No, I ain't no never mind what.
Because I was watching a documentary and the way that umbrella that you were just talking about was created by this one man that was wild. And I forget the documentary, but some pastor created that umbrella diagram that we're used to seeing. But I'm gonna have to pull it up later and put it in the what you call it. But
so you're saying that's not a Bible reference? That's a
yes.
But in the times that we're talking about now, though. Like you got to look and see like what's going on, and I'm not even gonna say us per se because you got to think we talking about people in their like 20s and stuff. I think now or no, it could be also in their 30s as well. But it's like now the woman has so much independence and power and so much stuff. Like now when they hear these vows like that girl just did. When she heard obey, I don't think at no point in time she was like being disrespectful towards her soon-to-be husband. I don't think that what it was. I think it's just when she heard it, it was such a trigger. Like you're not gonna tell me what to do or whatever. If I don't agree with something, then we're gonna have a conversation about it. We're gonna talk or whatever. Yeah. Like it's just not gonna be like it's just your word and then that's it. I think that's probably. And like I said, I don't know. I'm just thinking, like, I think that's probably what she was thinking at that time when she heard the word obey. And I think that's just what it was. I don't think anything malicious was meant by it when she said it at the time. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Just like when Nat said, for richer, you know, ain't gonna be no pole. You know what I'm saying? It's you looking at it at that time, like, no, we're gonna figure this thing out and make this thing work. Mm-hmm. And, you know, that's what I think it was.
Together.
Yeah.
Yeah. We equally need to. So what I wrote down when I heard obey was a matter of the term respect. So I looked at it as you need to be able to respect your spouse. And I don't mean it on just like a woman to a man, also a man to a woman in regards to their opinion, what the situation may be, because the term obey is going to be based on a situation. Like, this time I may obey what you're saying because I agree with you wholeheartedly, but the next situation I may not. So it's just a matter of, I think, a respect factor. Like it may be something that Jelly's saying we should do this, and I'm like, I don't really think we should go that route. But I respect where you're coming from, but hear me out on this. Not like, you know what, whatever you say goes, and then I'm gonna watch it crumble.
So in that same video that we referenced, was the man told to say obey as well?
Mm-mm. It was just the woman.
Yeah.
We ain't so whole. I don't think the whole thing played.
And I think that's where that's the drama. Exactly, is that why should I have to obey you, but you don't have to obey me, right?
Because if we're speaking in terms of what you're saying, I agree. But if we're speaking in that terms, then the reference should be
mutual.
Both ways, right?
Yeah. No shade. Like I respect this man. But it ain't no one-sided shit. Like, just being honest. I need him to hear me, and I need to hear him.
Is he head of the household?
Yeah, he is. You don't feel like it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay. No, I just need to make sure.
No, I was just looking at.
You are the king. You are the king.
Like, you asked that question, bro?
Because I mean, head of the household. That could be a subjective thing too.
Are you head of the household?
I like to believe so, yes. What's your opinion?
It's like the politically correct response.
That was right. He was walking the line with that one, right?
But you see the way he said it, he said, yeah, I would like to think so.
So the thing is, Alicia asked me this the other day, and I was like, I'd say I'm the head of the household. She was like, we'll leave it up for discussion.
Oh my God.
Oh, word.
So,
Petty.
What's your take on that?
Petty McBride over there?
I'm not. I think I'm petty. I'll let you have it.
No, speak your mind.
Like, I'm not trying to be funny. Like, I'm just saying, like,
okay, hold on.
Like,
we gotta break this down.
You said I let you have that.
Hold on, Jesse. Hold on. We gotta break this out. They gotta go home together. Head of household. What do you define? And I know we talked about income. And that's what I'm saying.
Like, we take, like, the term can be used so loosely. Like,
yeah.
Right. So we're not talking about income, right? When we're talking about head of household, what would you guys say is head of household? Like, what are we talking about?
That's what she's asking you.
Yeah, I'm asking your interpretation because y'all not. Two of y'all sound like y'all both the head of the household.
No. So I feel as though when it comes to like making decisions, we're gonna talk it out most of the time anyway. So it's like I kind of feel like head of household is a moot point because he's not gonna come and make all the decisions anyway. So it's just like. And we can say you're head of the house. Exactly. So we can say you're head of the household, but I know you're not going to go out here and make all these decisions without talking to me about it. So it's like, also we can give you the title, but it's like, what does it really mean if you're not going to, like, a head of household to me almost sounds like a dictatorship, almost.
No. I think head of household at the time when it was brought up also too is head of household is also the protector.
Yes, and that's what I told you, right?
You did say that. You did say that.
So the protector of the house is the head of the household, the protector and provider. Because again, at the time, the wife wasn't providing anything. The husband will bring home everything, and the wife will prepare it and everything, and also make sure the home is safe. So that's another thing. Because let's be honest, in both of our houses, if something go down, Dale and I both are the first ones, going. Yeah,
and I'll give you that. I was talking more so about like decision making.
Okay,
right. So like,
I think that's that.
Yeah.
Right, but that's the perspective that I was getting is based off of like decision making, like who is the head of the household
when it comes to decisions.
Yes.
No, I think that part with being head of the household is both people because like it should be a household where you do talk to your spouse about decisions made for the best of the house, whether it be the kids, everything. So that should be done automatically. But I think just the term head of the household should, quote unquote, go to the man because he is the protector, supposed to be the provider of everything in the home and making sure nothing gets crumbled, if that makes sense.
I got you. Okay.
Rebuttal?
I'll give you that.
You back, Dale.
I'll give you that wholeheartedly. I think you guys are looking for conflict, but one does not lie. There's no conflict here.
Got you.
There's some of these people out here out here in the YouTube world. Some people going through it. Yeah. Just like, trying to buy people gifts.
Oh, God.
Well, we're going to table that one for right now. I will say, if you guys have made it this far, thank you so much for watching. This has been yet another episode of the Babe Need to Talk podcast.